Good morning, kings and queens. It's Fresh Paws on your screen. And today's topic is unbiological parents versus blood relatives. This was very hard for me to kind of figure out how I wanted to talk about this without being too personal and without being too open about who I'm talking about. So, I just wanted to make this a broad, kind of generalized video on all unbiological parents and what we kind of go through when we're stepping into the picture. Before we start, like I said, I just wanted to say that this is a generalized video on the matter. I am definitely going to be doing a personal one. I'm going to eventually talk to you guys in another video about my own personal experiences that I've had being an unbiological parent and, the pros and cons to it and, overall, how you can handle certain situations. And also, before I start, I want to add thank you to all of those family members who support love and who have respected the unbiological parent in a situation and made them feel, at home and, gave them the acknowledgement that they needed to feel wanted and needed by the family and by the children. And I want to add, because I hate when I say but anyway, I want to also add that love is foundation. Love is healing. Love is support. Love is peace. Okay? Love is understanding. Love is compassion. Love is unconditional. So, if you're not speaking on love, if you're not doing things out of love, then what you have to say and what you're doing with your life don't matter. Now, so like I said, I appreciate the families who thrive off of love and who give love to those who enter into their family, whether blood or not. Now, it was really, really hard for me to figure out a way to make this video a little bit more general because it's the things that I have experienced personally have been very hard and difficult on me. And so I also want to add that I also had this conversation with one of my friends on Facebook. It really is hard out here sometimes being an unbiological parent because I'm going to just move right into it now. It's really hard because, one, a lot of blood relatives like to look at you like the help. Like, they don't appreciate what you're doing. And sometimes you can be in a situation where you're the partner who's coming in who has a little bit more time on their hands, which means you can do a lot more with the children. Now, there are many different experiences that unbiological parents have going into said relationships. Whether you're straight, whether you're gay, whether you're a lesbian, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is if you've already had that support from family members and, in your life before and prior to having said children, which I usually feel like is different. But, in my case, it wasn't because I was definitely in the picture for years before our baby girl came into the picture. And I was definitely with my partner when said baby girl was conceived. So, like I said, that's a different story time for another time. And I most definitely might have that story time with my partner. But moving forward, I just want to state some generalized things that a lot of blood relatives don't realize that they do, or they realize that they do it and they don't care. So, for starters, okay, one of those things is being acknowledged. when you are a great, and I mean a great parent, and let's say that your children are older, because I want to, like I said, I want to generalize this, but my child is still a baby. She's not in school or nothing like that yet, so it's not hard at all. Okay, it's not hard to come up with any kind of scrutiny or anything like that. It's not hard. It's just, like I said, I'm generalizing this. So let's just say that you're the unbiological parent stepping into a relationship, and your partner has kids and you don't have no kids. So we're going to look at it from that standpoint. Now, I feel like the harshest reality is the scrutiny and the disrespect that you get from the blood relatives who do not respect you as the parent. They will down talk your name. They will make you feel less than, and they will definitely make it known that your opinion or how you feel about a situation or how you want to raise said children is not up to you. And that hurts a lot. Because if you're one of those parents who actually love the children, who actually pride yourself on taking care of them and pride yourself on who they are even as individuals, and it hurts and sucks the most when the children love you. When the children actually love you, but you have to deal with their grandmother and their aunt or their cousins or whoever just disrespecting you as the parent because you're not related. Other things that come with being an unbiological parent sometimes, and I'm strictly talking about the negative views and the negative attention that unbiological parents receive. If you go to an outing and it's, your partner's family and you guys are sharing the children, obviously, and to block that off, I love the parents who are just like, no, that's not my stepchild. That is my child. At the end of the day, that is my child. I take care of them. I take them to school. I feed them on a regular basis. I talk to them. I read to them. I go to, their games, whatever the case may be. You're there for those children. And people love to make you feel like because you're not blood, you don't have the right to discipline them, which I feel like is not true. I feel like if you know how to talk and speak to the child to discipline them, as well as put them in timeout, you don't have to put your hands on them. But if you are going to put your hands on them and your partner doesn't mind that, you have to make sure that you're not forceful when you do so. A little tap on the butt, a little pat on the hand, something of that nature, a little pinch or something like that on the skin. But if you're someone who's doing it right, and like I said, this is for all the good unbiological parents who stepped into a situation loving their partner, loving the children, and not learning or knowing that the family was going to treat them some type of way. Now, some blood relatives like to be like, okay, I treat you this way because I don't know if you're going to be in the picture for very long, and I don't know if I can trust you. I get that, but you got to give that person a chance. And if something feels off to you, then you stick with your guns, but you don't continue to disrespect that person when you have nothing. Seriously. And, especially if you're living under the same roof as said people who are discriminating against you or, basically disrespecting you, it's even worse. Because then now you have to deal with them not calling you the mother in front of the child of which you are raising. So it'll be like an example. Hey, little Susie Q. Oh, don't do that. Put that away. Go give that to Mary Lou. Let's just say Mary Lou is the unbiological parent and Susie Q is the little girl and she's getting herself into some trouble and she's doing something wrong. Oh, go give that to Mary Lou. Excuse me? Go give that to Mary Lou? You mean go give that to Mommy? Or could it be Miss Mary Lou? Because I know some unbiological parents are a little bit uncomfortable with children calling them mom right off the bat. And I'm not saying call you mom right off the bat. My situation happens to be different. And, it sucks when you do your part as the unbiological parent to discuss to your children, like, look, I'm not your mother, or I'm not your dad, but at the end of the day, I'm choosing to raise you, I'm choosing to love you, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that you get to where you need to be in life. So if I'm not asking you for a dime to help raise this kid, okay, I show you on a regular day-to-day basis that I take care of this child without your help, without anybody else's help, and I do what I'm supposed to do, why am I being scrutinized? Why am I still being disrespected? So not only do blood relatives show that sometimes they don't care for you disciplining a child, sometimes they don't like for you to tell them what they can and cannot do with said child. And they get to a point where they feel like you're being controlling, or you just don't want them around the grandchild and you're trying to keep them away from them. But sometimes it's not even the case. You know, as small babies, you would want your you would expect older folk to understand that you can't just go around kissing the baby all types of willy-nilly. Plus, y'all act like y'all don't have husbands. Y'all act like y'all don't have other kids that y'all kiss up on. Y'all act like y'all don't be putting y'all lips on other stuff. And y'all act like y'all brush y'all teeth every day. So when I sit over here and express, like, you know, don't kiss on the child like that. Don't kiss on her, period, because she's sick. It's like everybody and their grandmother don't want to listen to that. Because they looking at you like, oh, well, it's traditional. You know, we kiss the baby and, you know, we hold them and we do this. And it's like, can we think about the child here? Can we think about their health and their well-being? Can you get out of your feelings, get out of your emotions? Because it's not about you. And I'm not saying that you can't do any these things because of you. I'm saying it for the sake of my child. So don't get upset with the unbiological parent who is doing right. So they don't want you to discipline the child. They don't want you changing any dynamics of, you know, how they have things going. They don't want you to change the foundation. I'm going to put it that way. They don't want you to change the foundation of the child, especially if you feel like the foundation needs to be changed. Then they don't want the child calling you mom or calling you dad, which is ridiculous. Especially if you've been in that child's life at a very young age, and even if they, you know, are teenagers to an extent, and they decide that they want to call you that, they have the right and the choice to call you that because they are human too. So you're trying to break a bond from the unbiological parent and the child for what reason? What are you getting out of that? As the relative of the child, what are you getting out of disrespecting the unbiological parent? What are you getting out of making that parent feel less than? Because at the end of the day, all of the torture and all of the negative things that come with being an unbiological parent is hurtful. And everybody don't experience this. They really don't. And even when it comes to feeding your child, or even how you go about taking care of them, you get scrutinized for it. And it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me because I'm just like, you know what? That's just like a child being in foster care, have none of their children, and someone comes and adopts them. They know full blown well that's not their parent. But are they not excited to finally have someone to love them? Are they not excited to finally be with a family, to be taken care of and loved? What is so hard? Why is it so hard to accept the unbiological parent coming in, stepping in, and doing their part to make sure that everything is still running smoothly? What's wrong with the unbiological parent setting a stronger foundation for the children? Because blood relatives get used to the idea of that family member not being with anyone. Or if you're in a lesbian gay relationship, they already look at you like, oh, that's not going to work. That's not your child. She didn't come out of your womb. You had nothing to do with that. And I was told that. But little does this person know I had a hell of a lot to do with everything that came with our baby girl coming into the world. Okay? But they like to try to push in your face that you weren't there. Well, how could I have been there? They didn't fuck with me. Okay, in that time period. So how could I have been there? I'm here now. And why am I being disrespected when the other parent is not even doing their part? It just drives me wild. It's insane. It's insane. The kind of behavior that blood relatives will put on an unbiological parent simply because they are not related. I mean, they will dig your character into the ground if they don't like you. And then have the audacity in the same breath to try to act like, everything's, fun and fine and lie to your face, but will straight up be so disrespectful in front of you and towards you, and not direct, but indirectly. And think that you don't know what they're doing or how they're feeling about the situation. And the biggest part that I can't stand is the fact that they don't acknowledge the person, the unbiological parent, for doing what they're doing. Because there's a lot of unbiological parents who sometimes step into the picture and don't want nothing to do with the kids. But the ones who do, why are you scrutinizing them? Why are you giving them a hard time? Like I said, what are you getting out of that? You're not getting nowhere with that. And I feel like it's about time that we start standing up and claiming our rights as a parent. Because, sweetie, trust and believe, I'm adopting my baby girl. Why? Because I wanted her. Okay? I wanted her. And I've been taking care of her since she was in the womb. Okay? And I feel like, at the end of the day, blood relatives, if you can't accept one of your family members' lifestyles and who they are as people, if you can't look past that and see that the child is loved, see that the child is being nurtured, see that the child is, being taken care of, period, then you don't need to be in the picture anymore. Point blank in the period. Because I feel like if you're doing your part as the unbiological parent in the situation, if you're doing your part and you're loving on that child, and that child shows all the time that they love you, and they just can't get enough of you, and, like I said, they just show that, and that bond is there, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time worried about what their blood relatives have to say. Don't. Because it's not worth it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to do what you need to do for you in order to be happy at the end of the day. If you're not happy, then I would say leave the situation, and it hurts because you'll be leaving behind the children of which you were taking care of. And I don't know how long you may have been taking care of them. But if this is a situation where it makes you unhappy and, the relatives are just downright disgraceful and disgusting, I would let go of the situation. But if this is a situation where you can easily keep yourself from them, and if you are able to have a conversation with them and it goes well, then thank God. But if you have a conversation with them and it doesn't go well, I feel like in that moment, you have to decide what you want to do from that point. For me, I feel like you don't need to be around. Because you're not going to continue to keep treating me like I'm just some shit. You're not going to keep treating me like I'm less than. Because titles don't mean nothing at the end of the day. Your title don't mean nothing. I don't care, you grandma, auntie, cousin, niece, nephew, whatever the case is, that don't mean nothing. If you're going to be disrespectful to our foundation, to our love, to the support that we're surrounding for our child, you don't need to be in the picture. You're just going to be someone who's just pulling us back. And truly understand it causes arguments. Because if your partner is not standing up for you, if your partner isn't saying what they need to say in order for, their relatives to stop talking bad on you, Or period. Don't say nothing at all. If your partner isn't backing you up and isn't standing up for you, don't stay in that situation. It's not worth it. And it sucks that you can build relationships with children and wind up having to leave, but it's not worth it if you have a partner who is too weak-minded and weak-boned and can't stand up to their own family member and be like, hey, look, this is my life. This is my situation, okay? And they are doing everything that they need to and possibly can do for our child. We're not asking you for help. We're not asking you to throw up some dollars and some ones and some 20s and some hundreds so we can get our child Pampers or pull-ups or clothes, shoes, or anything that they need. We're not asking you for any of those things. We're doing great. We're doing marvelous. So why is my partner, why is the unbiological parent being scrutinized? Accept the fact that they came in and started loving a child. I mean, some parents, some blood relatives, okay, half the time have a child, majority of the time, or are raising the child, or whatever the case is, because the parent is working all the time. But if the parent has a partner who's willing to take up, that end of the bargain, that's giving you free time, blood relative. And some blood relatives don't even want to do that. And to an extent, I feel like that's my position. I'm sitting here and I'm taking care of our child. So at the end of the day, nobody else has to do so. Nobody else has to raise her. Nobody else has to take care of her or watch her while we're working. You know what I mean? So it's like, why is it so bad? Because I don't see the problem. And I just feel like this is an issue that a lot of people deal with on a regular basis. And it is either put in their face on a regular basis, or it's only put in their face when they're around the parent. And I pray to all the unbiological parents who are living with their partner's parents, or even with their own parents, and they're just being scrutinized. And you're trying so hard to get out of that situation. You're trying to get your money right, and you're trying to move and leave. And in the midst of that, worried that if you snap, that you're just not going to have a roof over your head. Look, I get it. I definitely get it. And now that I think about it, I am going to do a part 2. I mean, I was thinking about doing a part 3. But since we're already 22 minutes in, and I might as well make this like a 25-30 minute video, because it is pretty long, I want to add this. To the unbiological parents. Sometimes the unbiological parents are a little bit more shady than the partner's parents with the kids. And I don't like that either. Because I feel like, I mean, you look at it from their side of view and they're like, okay, well, they're not your children. You can create a bond with them all you want to, but if the relationship does not work out the way that you hope it does, I don't want to get close to this child, and I'm not going to ever see them again if you two don't work. But it's like, okay, now what if I'm with this person for years? What if I get to a point where I'm married to them? How long are you going to wait to meet these kids? Especially if I am in a situation where we had this child together and it's a lesbian gay couple. Now, if we had this child together and you're still going to look at me and be like, oh, well, I don't know how I feel about meeting a child. You guys might not last. You might not be able to still see the child, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you know what? That is just some foolery. That's just some doggone stupid-ass excuse for you not to be involved. Because at the end of the day, your heart tells you, and even your mind tells you, oh, that's not my grandchild. Or that's not my niece or nephew. Because they didn't come out of your belly. You know how stupid and disrespectful that is? So you mean to tell me when I bring my family over to do these little, holiday gatherings and stuff, you're going to be looking at our child as if they're not one of us. You're going to be looking at our child as if she doesn't belong. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Because love, at the end of the day, is the strongest freaking foundation you can ever have. Especially for a child. If there is no love, then you can be scrutinizing. Then you can be rude. And even still, I wouldn't scrutinize. Even still, I wouldn't be rude. Because it's not your situation. Be helpful. Why can't we be helpful? Why can't we be the solution instead of being the problem? I don't get it. Being an unbiological parent can be very, very hard sometimes. But I just feel like it's only hard when you don't have that support from the other foundations, from the other two foundations. When you don't have that support from the other two foundations, it's hard. And when you're in a lesbian relationship, a gay relationship, it's even harder, especially if either one of those foundations don't agree with your lifestyle. So it's like, damn, you already don't agree with my lifestyle. Now I got to sit over here and deal with you not, appreciating the fact that at least your daughter or your son is in a relationship with someone who wants to be with them and wants to take care of said child and partner. And it cracks me up sometimes. I just be like, half of y'all don't even got y'all baby daddies in y'all lives. Half of y'all ain't even with the man that got y'all knocked up. But y'all want to be mad. Y'all want to be mad over a lesbian gay relationship couple having kids together and they're actually still together working things out. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like every relationship is the same. You deal with the same type of shit. The sex is just different. Come on now. So, in my opinion, be careful. To all the unbiological parents, be careful of what partner you choose to be in a relationship with, and be mindful of the type of people her family members are, or his family members are. Seriously. Be very mindful, because it may not be a situation that you want to be in anymore. It may not be a situation you want to dig too deep in. And for, relatives to constantly show you that you ain't nobody, that and the biggest kicker is when Mother and Father's Day comes around and nobody wants to tell you Happy Mother's Day or Happy Father's Day simply because you're the unbiological parent. Fucked up, right? Mad fucked up. When you're the one putting in all the work, right? And I'm not saying that your partner isn't, but I'm saying you as the individual, as the unbiological parent, you're still doing your part, right? So if you're doing your part, why aren't you being acknowledged as such? Like I said, that's like adopting a child who is obviously not going to be with their biological parents, but they're with someone who loves them extraordinarily, and then people overlook that person because they're not blood. Are you kidding? It's just, I feel like it's ridiculous because there's just so much hate. There's so much hate. People are not willing to be understanding of anything. They just want things to be their way. And it's like, how can you force another human to be how you want them to be? We all have choices in this life. And yes, we're not going to like every decision or every choice that someone makes, but guess what? It's not your life. And if you don't like their choice or their decision, I'm pretty sure there's a handful of choices and decisions you made that ain't nobody else like. So don't do that. But at the end of the day, I just feel like, just be aware. Just be aware of the person that you're with. If they show that they're willing to fight back when their relatives start acting a certain way, hey, stay with them. Because they love you. And anyone who's willing to sacrifice, possibly not speaking to their family members or whatever the case for your relationship, and the fact that you are doing what you're supposed to do for you guys as children, I applaud that. Because you don't ever think about breaking your family up over a relationship. You never think about breaking up your family or keeping your children away from family members, just because of certain situations. But certain situations like that, you don't want your children growing up thinking that it's okay to disrespect the biological parent because everyone else is. And because they see it happen to that person and they don't stand up for themselves, or they stand up for themselves and it just causes more harm than anything else. So I just want to close this video out and just say thank you. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for watching this video. I know I was probably all over the place with this video, but right now I'm just trying to post and give you guys some content. In the meantime, I'll be working on how I want to edit. But with that being said, I just want to say, unbiological parents, know who you're with. Know the type of family members that you are getting around. Try to bond with the children as much as you possibly can. But always be aware and be on your toes so that you know whether or not you want to go deeper into a situation with the person that you're into and who may have children, or even if you have children, always be aware of, the people that you're involving yourself with. Blood relatives, all I'm going to have to say to you guys is get over it. Get over it. Okay? If they show signs that they're disrespecting your grandchild or your niece, your nephew, whoever they are to you, if they're showing any signs of disrespect or, anything like that, then say something, speak up. But if they're not and they're loving it on a child, they never ask you for help or anything, and they're basically a good parent, give them that acknowledgement. Let them feel wanted. Let them feel loved. Let them feel needed. And let them feel like they have grown a bond. Because trust me, a lot of unbiological parents grow bonds. And it sucks and it hurts when they have to walk away because of situations like this. No one's going to continue to deal with someone's disrespect. So, blood relatives, who cares about your titles? Because at the end of the day, your titles don't mean anything. And you can be dismissed from the situation just as much as the partner may dismiss themselves because they don't want to deal with it. No, you can be dismissed too. And that could keep you from seeing whoever that child is to you. And that's not even trying to be like, oh, you want to threaten me and you want to do that, that's fine. It's like, okay, well, if that's fine, then you have no problem with me taking them away. And you have no right to sit over here and discriminate and disrespect me the way that you're disrespecting me when you're so willing to allow me to take them away from you. When I wouldn't ever, this is me speaking personally, I wouldn't ever walk away from my child. Biological or not, she's mine. And I wouldn't ever walk away from her. I love her. That is my little queen. And there's no way that anyone is going to take away who I am to her and who she is to me. So I just want to pray, and I just want to say, I'm not going to pray right now, but, I'm going to pray on all of the unbiological parents and even, the partners and the families, because it's ridiculous not to show love. It's ridiculous to constantly see hate being spewed around in families, being spewed around in front of the kids. And, the children learn these things. And I don't think it's fair to the child. It's not fair to the child at all. Get out your feelings. Stop hating. Stop being mad. Get some business about yourself. And let's start coming together as one and building a bigger and better foundation for the children. Because it's not about you as the individual, as the relative. It's not about you, sweetie. It's about the child. And with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Oh my gosh, it's about to be 35 freaking minutes long. I don't have ever did a video this long. But like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be prepared for part 2. And that is going to be my personal story on the situation. The things that I have personally gone through. And I hope you guys have a great day. Okay. It's like, it's a little bit, seems like it's going to be raining a little bit today. Probably shouldn't be showing people's houses and whatnot. My lips are crusty this morning. But I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for all the love and the support. You guys could be anywhere else right now, but you chose to click this video and watch what Fresh Paws had going on. So I thank you for that. And like my grandmother always says, see ya. See ya. I'm so stupid.